You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Keys to the City. I'm your host, Trevor Keys, alongside the big brother, Ted Keys.
What up, bro?
Unbelievable. If you want to know, Ted, I'm not going to lie. You look clearer than me. I guess that's what...
Let's not jinx it, bro. Let's just keep rolling with the show.
No, I know. You're right. Well, we are back. We tried to do something last night to preview divisional recap week, or preview it of divisional football. But we had a little technical difficulties, typical. But we're here, and we are only an hour and a half away from the first of 4 matchups, divisional weekend. Cannot wait. The Elite Eight is here. The Final Four will be set by tomorrow night. And think about this. Think about how this playoffs has gone so far. Last week, the storylines were there for the taking to be some sort of a legendary wild card weekend. It didn't really have that flavor. It didn't really have the spice that we were looking for going into wild card weekend. We had the upsets. We had some incredible performances. CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, guys like Puka Nacua, young talent that looks like they're going to be bringing us into the future as well. Add those to the list. Now you think about it this week, Ted, with these 4 matchups, it got some outstanding elite quarterback matchups. AFC, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. I don't really need to say anything about that one. Then you have Lamar Jackson. Looks to be soon to be 2-time MVP winner Lamar Jackson versus, boy, oh boy, CJ Stroud. And he's only maybe a win away from possibly etching his name into not just the top 5 quarterbacks in the AFC. Well, it'll be a serious debate that he might be a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. I know it's crazy because it's his rookie year, but sometimes you just feel it and sometimes you just see it and you're saying, hey, that guy's got something special. And it looks like the Houston Texans have something special moving forward. How special can it be? I guess we'll see in about an hour and a half from kickoff right now. And then the NFC. Jordan Love, same thing like last week. I had an epic performance versus Dallas Cowboys, playing against an old rivalry once again in the 49ers. And then you got 2 guys that have, as Ted liked to said, rejuvenated careers, Ted, and Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff. Jared Goff, you already know about this. Looked like he was on the verge of being maybe a bridge quarterback for this Detroit Lions franchise. Now we're talking about him getting a mega extension, depending on the results, and probably still going to get that big extension in the offseason. And Baker Mayfield, talking about extensions, we thought he was done. He was playing scout team defensive line for the Carolina Panthers last year when he was a backup. Now he's 60 minutes away from an NFC title game. It's funny how the NFC or the NFL works. You put these guys in the perfect situations. It's like the NFL draft. Yeah, you got great talent coming in. Caleb Williams, Drake May, all these quarterbacks. But it all depends on where you go. If you go to somebody that has all the pieces there, then guess what? Maybe that quarterback elevates his game and elevates the team. If he doesn't, he might struggle for the majority of his career. But Ted, hour and a half away from kickoff, Texans, Ravens. I really want to get into this week overall because you think about these matchups and you talk about the quarterback matchups, and there's really 2 guys. And if you want to add Mr. Brock Purdy to this list, there's 2 guys that really face an immense sort of pressure, a great deal of pressure. And we all know the 2 guys. I could just go through this list right now. Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Jared Goff, all to me. Now, this might be differently on Ted, but to me, face no pressure. Maybe Jared Goff is the one out of all 3 of the 4, because Mahomes, he's already got Super Bowls. Baker Mayfield, he's had an amazing year. They weren't even supposed to be. If you think about it, 3 of the 8 teams that are left were supposed to be projected top 10 picks. Now they're playing.
Oh, yeah. I know we talked about that the other day.
Yeah, we talked about it last night before we had the technical difficulties. But now they're 60 minutes away from playing in conference championship Sunday next week. It's amazing. So that's why I say there's no pressure on Jordan Love. The Packers look like they got their next great quarterback. CJ Stroud, there's no pressure on him. he looks like he's going to be a superstar in this league and a guy that's going to be that future for the Houston Texans. And then Jared Goff would be the only other guy I would say maybe because he's going to get the extension. And the Detroit Lions, look, they haven't been to an NFC title game since 1991.
No, the pressure is on two quarterbacks, and they're both in the AFC, bro. Let's start trying to beat around the bush. It's Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Easily said and done. Mahomes is already at the top of the mountain in the sense of the quarterbacks of the league. He's looked upon as the best quarterback in the league. Joe Burrow's already been to a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson's ever been to a conference championship game, and I believe Josh Allen's never been to a conference championship game.
Yeah, he has.
Who?
They lost in 2020.
To who?
To the Chiefs. The year that they
wasn't the conference championship game.
Yes, it was.
No, it was not. It was the divisional game.
Do you want to make a bet right now? That was the divisional round the next year. The year before when they had COVID, it was the Bills because I remember I was living in Florida and I watched it. It was my first weekend.
2020?
My first weekend in Florida.
It was 38-24 Chiefs.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We don't remember that because it was COVID and we all kind of just forget about that year. But the Buffalo Bills were in the AFC title game. Josh Allen wasn't a title game.
How did he play?
Lost. He pulling up
the stats. Allen, 28 of 48, 287, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Mahomes, 325, 3 touchdowns, 29 of 38.
If we don't forget
Josh Allen also had 88 yards rushing. Cole Beasley was the leading catcher.
But if we all remember that legendary game just not too long ago, Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs. This time, we're going to get the rare occasion. We're going to get the rarest of rare, I should say.
I forgot.
We are not going to be seeing a playoff game where Patrick Mahomes is at home. The first time in his career. I know it's Ted didn't even know this, but this is a true fact that this is the first game in Patrick Mahomes' career that he will not be playing at home in the playoffs.
Yeah, I knew that.
He is going to Buffalo. But Ted, this whole weekend is about, pretty much. Don't beat around the bush. It's about Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. And I would put Brock Purdy too. Because the 49ers have to wonder, is this the guy that we're going into the future with? No matter what the narrative will be after this weekend, win, loss, the Bills are still going to have Josh Allen. He's locked up for a long time. The Lamar Jackson and Baltimore Ravens train, they're not going anywhere. He's locked up for a while too. Big extension this past offseason. So these guys, no matter what the narrative is going to be at the end of the weekend, to me, Brock Purdy faces just as much because of the fact that if he performs poorly, then what did they do? Like if he performs poorly and they lose tonight, being that they have been the overwhelming favor for majority of this season, and they lose somehow, what are the questions going to be asked about Brock Purdy? Like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson will be like, well, he could be as great as he wants in the regular season. He's just not good enough to make it. This guy, he doesn't perform well in the postseason. He looks bad. They lose. What do? Because they're already signed. They're extended. They're not going anywhere. Brock Purdy has nothing of that. He's Mr. Irrelevant. He had an incredible year this year, had a solid season last year, but all we remember is he got injured. So we never knew what was going to happen in the NFC title game last year.
I'm just pulling up some stuff as you're kind of beating around the bush and talking about everything.
I'm not beating around the bush. I'm getting to all the points.
But I'm saying you're hitting on a bunch of stuff.
And I think Brock Purdy deserves to be in the same conversation. No?
I don't think so. Because he's not looked up. I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying is when you look at the quarterback levels, it's Lamar and Josh Allen, bro. Because we're talking about, like you said when you started the conversation.
But wouldn't you say Dak and Purdy are in the same?
No. Let's not talk about Dak and Purdy. Let's talk about.
I'm just saying, because Purdy, you said he's not in that quarterback level.
He's not.
But wouldn't you put Purdy? I mean, this guy was an MVP candidate. Believe it or not. It's
Josh Allen and Lamar. Purdy,
I get 100%.
Purdy has pressure, but the team has pressure. Kyle Shanahan has pressure. Yeah. That's who has pressure. Because I think when you look at the coach over the quarterback in this situation, because everyone looks at the 49ers as it's not Brock Purdy, it's Debo, it's McCaffrey, it's Brandon Ayuk, it's George Kittle, it's Trent Williams, it's the offensive line, it's the number one defense, it's good pass rush, it's Nick Bosa, it's all these other outside sources. It's not Brock Purdy, right? But it is Brock Purdy. But when we're talking about pressure and we're getting into the games, listen, Lamar's 0-2 in the divisional round. He's never won a divisional game. He's got one touchdown pass and 3 picks. He hasn't played well in the divisional round. Now the Texans are 0-4 all time in the divisional round, losing by an average.
Do you remember the last time they got to the divisional round?
Probably Watson, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, it was the time that they were up
right now, bro. My brain.
They were up 24-0 on the Chiefs, and they blew it. And they lost 51-31 in that game.
I do remember that. I couldn't believe I remember that. I do remember that. Yep.
Oh,
yeah, no, but I'm just thrown off the whole thing. Yesterday I had so much, and it's just
stay focused, brother. Stay focused.
Yeah, I know. What do I predict in the games? I believe all the top seeds are going to win. I believe the Ravens should take care of business. They should win by 10+ points. They're the better team. They're better defense. I was just reading a thing. The Texans are got 13 players on their injury reserve. Will Anderson was dealing with injuries all this week. Some of their other defensive pieces are missing. The Ravens got to take advantage, man. They should be well rested. I get it, Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony.
My God. Mark Andrews is not available. Neither is Mono and Humphrey. Yeah, maybe Mark Anthony will sing me a song. Hero.
No, you know what song he sings, right? That song's down in the Dominican. Every time I hear it, I think of the Dominican Republic.
What?
See, I don't know how it goes.
That don't matter. Then you don't really know.
I do, but I don't know how to say it because I don't know how to speak Spanish, so I don't want to butcher a classic.
Yeah, I know.
Classic, I don't want to be you when you're trying to sing.
Do you expect
Andrea Bocelli?
Do you expect this game to be close? What's your expectation? Yeah.
Honestly, yes, because anytime you have a quarterback that is, to me, an elite level quarterback, and I get it, it's crazy to say it because it's only his first year, but you could just see, man, that man has the pocket awareness and the way he delivers the ball. He just stands in the pocket. He was taking hits last week and he was throwing dimes. That's all he's been doing this year. He did it at Ohio State. He's been ridiculed because he came from Ohio State and people didn't think his game was going to ever elevate or transition into the NFL because of the day and age that we live in of football, you have to have some sort of ability to extend plays. Now, we're not talking about Mike Vick or Lamar Jackson type athleticism. We're talking about enough athleticism like an Aaron Rodgers or Joe Burrow, Ted, that you can get outside the pocket and make those throws and make those plays. And I think he got ridiculed and bashed a lot throughout the draft process. And the Texans are sitting back saying,
well as JJ Watt said, who gives a shit about some Wonderlic tests?
Exactly. Who gives a shit about it? You're not taking a test on the football. Yeah, you are reading defenses.
I think anytime you play in the divisional round, home game. I don't know what's going on over here.
I don't know what the hell's going on around here.
All right. So with that being said, you look at this game, you're like, all right, Texans are coming off a nice win. Ravens are coming off the bye. Should be healthy. Should be ready to rock and roll. I had the game report on there. Talking cold, very windy in Baltimore. So could maybe affect Lamar's throws more than C.J. Stroud because C.J. Stroud's a better thrower of the ball. But here's my thing. I think what the Texans have to do is kind of like in a boxing match, you say, is withstand the first 5 minutes of the fight. So you expect the Ravens to come out kind of like guns blazing. Right? Yeah. Like the crowd's going to be fired up. The place is going to be rocking. They want to go on defense. Probably go 3 and out on the Texans. Punt the ball. Let's go. Let's let Lamar and the MVP front runner run wild. Let's, play action. Big first down to back them over the top or Zay Flowers. Let's run the ball. Let's set the tone. Jump on 7-0, and let's just eat them alive before they even get a chance.
There's no pressure from it's just like the quarterbacks, the teams as a whole. The Texans don't face any pressure. This is all on Baltimore. This is all on the Bills. This is all on the 49ers. Then the Lions are kind of 50-50. It's all on these 4 teams. I get it, the 1 and 2 seeds. And we say, oh, well, why the 1 and 2 seeds? Oh, because of just look at the situation. Here's the situation.
Right, the Ravens were the best defense in football. Okay, let's stop playing the game. They were the best football
team in football.
All right, you have the MVP.
They're the best
and Lamar Jackson. When you have the MVP at quarterback, when you have the best defense, when you have the number 1 seed, when you have the bye, when you have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, the expectation is your ass should be in the Super Bowl. No buts about it. There should be no playing around, fiddling sticks or whatever. You're the best team. You've been the best team. If you think about it, if you look at the last 6 or 7 games, you look at their stretch of dominating Jacksonville, going to San Francisco, whoever they played down the stretch, they've kick their ass, and it hasn't even been close.
Embarrassing.
So you got a rookie young team that's not even supposed to be here. They're playing with house money. Your expectation is to go and knock them out early and set the tone and be ready and get ready for next week and whoever's got to come to your place. That's the expectation for the Baltimore Ravens. CJ Stroud and the Texans, let's go, baby. We're shooting money balls in the three-point contest all day long. We got nothing to lose. That's why when people, I don't know what your prediction was, but the reason why I chose the Bills, and that was my preseason pick of Bills-Ravens, was, hey, listen, here's the thing. I get it. The Chiefs are the healthier team. And that could all play a difference this whole weekend. Who's the healthier team playing this weekend's games? But the Chiefs are the much more healthier team than the Bills. Unfortunately, the Bills are devastated with injuries. More and more every week they got 3 or 4 guys going to the IR. And I say the IR, the IL, whatever.
Yeah.
They're not available. All right. But you still have Josh Allen. You still have Cook at running back. You still have Diggs at receiver. You still have the same offensive lineman that you've had for the past few weeks, right? You still got Dalton Kincaid. The defense, you have to do enough to hold back Mahomes and hope your superhuman hero and Josh Allen can win you the game. And here's the other thing. You're home, bro. I get it. You're down and out. You got injuries. The Chiefs are coming to your town. But this is what you've been asking for like 4 or 5 years. Like, give me the chance to let me fight him in my backyard. Let me not have to fight him in his backyard. This is my backyard. This is the Bills' backyard. This is what you want, right? This is what you've wanted. It's like the Colts. Remember all those years? Every single time they had to go to New England. Every deal with the cold, the rain, the weather. Guess what? Finally, Peyton Manning got them into the dome, and they won. And that's what the Bills need.
They had to come from behind. If we all remember that game, they were getting their asses kicked, but that team found.
Yeah, wasn't it like 18-3 or something? They were losing
21-3 or 21-6. I think it was 21-3 at half.
I knew you got my back. So with that being said, is like, here you go, Bills. Like, you're on a run, right? You were 6-6. Everyone counted you out for the playoffs. You've been playing playoff football for the past 8 weeks. Continue the streak, continue to dominate. Listen, I think that's.
This man was in speech, and then all of a sudden,
bro. All of a sudden, I got like kids' videos going on. So like a lullaby was just playing or something. I don't know. So just threw me off.
This man gets distracted
but that's why I go with those predictions of the Bills and Ravens, right? And I look at it in the simple sense of, listen, man, we just talked about pressure. We're talking about the 2 best quarterbacks in football in the AFC, and Josh Allen and Lamar, right? Outside of Mahomes, right? And these are opportunities that we've talked about when we do the shows every year in divisional rounds. Like, man, you're gonna probably make the playoffs, but how many times you're gonna have the same guys and whatnot? And like we talked about in the preseason, is like the Bills. After this season, Josh Allen's cap hit is huge.
Yeah.
So it could drastically change what this Bills team is next year. Listen, the Bills don't have a Super Bowl. Plain and simple. That's what it comes down to, too. The Bills don't have a Super Bowl, right? The Bills want to get to a Super Bowl desperately.
Yeah.
So, I expect a great game. I expect the Ravens to win. I think the Texans will play them hard. But the pressure also on those 2 quarterbacks, I just wonder, though, if either one of those quarterbacks, it's not that if they play bad, but even if their teams lose, what would be the narrative on Monday or tomorrow with Lamar or Josh Allen on Monday is if those 2 teams lose, what's the narrative around? Like, are these guys?
The narrative is.
Do they become the Phillip Rivers?
No,
do they become those guys that are really good that can't get over the top?
It's pretty simple. You'll just be known as a guy that is great in the regular season, and then that's it. That's the hard truth about it all. It's just moments like this, like Lamar, you're about to win your second MVP. You got the number 1 seed for the second time. Everybody's coming to you. You have a beat up. Look at the situation too. A beat up Buffalo Bills team. A not as explosive and non-explosive Kansas City dangerous type level of offense that they've had.
Well, they're healthier than the Bills.
They're healthier. They got a great defense, but their offense is not to the level where it's been in the past.
Well, Miami didn't show up last week.
And then the Texans, well, that's what who cares? It's football. And then the Texans, young team, but my thing is about them and why they might have been the hardest team to pick of the underdogs between was because of the fact that I just think CJ Stroud and having a quarterback like that, anytime you have a quarterback like that's like when Brady, when the Patriots were down that 1 year and everybody said, oh, they're over. They're not going to get home field advantage. And guess what? Brady and that team found a way to continuously win and then won another Super Bowl trophy. I'm not saying that that's going to happen.
I remember that. That was like one of their worst teams, and they still found a way to get the top seed in home games.
And you just saw 2 years ago with the Cincinnati Bengals. There was no reason on earth that the Cincinnati Bengals were supposed to be playing on Super Bowl Sunday 2 years ago. But they played on Wild Card Weekend. They struggled against the Raiders team, but guess what? They found a way to win because they have a quarterback named Joe Burrow. Then they went on the road to get against the number 1 seed, the Tennessee Titans. Joe Burrow we already know the story, got killed, got sacked 8-9 times in that game, still found a way to win. And then the AFC title game. I'm just saying, with this Texans team, having a quarterback like CJ Stroud, who, dude, doesn't get fazed by anything. Just doesn't. You just watch him play. It's like the best example is that when he played Tampa this year and Tampa went down, they scored, and then there was 40 seconds left. He's like, okay. Like,
I remember.
Like he just doesn't. It doesn't bother him. No. Everything is just let's go. Let's follow the lead. I'm their guy, and guess what? We're gonna get there one way or the other. Now this matchup's going to be extremely tough because you are going against the number 1 overall defense. Pretty much to me, when I see it, the way they hit, the way they get to the ball, the way they turn the ball over, they get to the quarterback. They do all the right things at every level of defense. So, but saying that. But to add to go off to that point, having a quarterback that's as elite, as accurate, and just is not scared of the moment, you have every possibility to win this game. I don't care if it's on the road. I don't care if it's the weather. They have any chance. I'm talking about any team too. Anytime you have a quarterback that has all those tools and has the leadership skills, you will always be put in a situation where you are able to win a football game. Obviously, we already picked our predictions. We posted it on Keys to the City, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm agreeing with you, Ted. The Ravens just too much overall, but do not be surprised if the Houston Texans are playing next Sunday.
Listen, I'll put it this way.
To me, and I know I might be biased because I'm an Ohio State guy, but just to see CJ Stroud playing like this, it puts a smile on my face because I want to see Ohio State quarterback do well, and he's doing it right now. And that's job well done to this coaching.
I mean, I don't know if I'd be shocked if anyone wins this weekend. After what I saw of performance last week, I don't know if I'd be shocked if anyone wins.
Can I give you the biggest upset to me?
But of course, I think if either one of the number 1 seeds go down, that I think, of course, that's the biggest surprises. I think the expectation is
this man still has hope. Birds fly, no, Zill.
I think they just flew into a plane propeller and just bloodied all over the.
Well, that's not good, man. Somebody could be flying right now. I mean, I'm going to be flying a couple weeks. Why would you say such a thing?
Because he's talking about the Eagles.
Yeah, they got shot down a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like that old game in Nintendo Duck. Bing, bang.
Yeah, just bye.
No, man. I mean, let's be honest. Who would you be more surprised? 49ers or Ravens losing?
49ers. I just told you the reason why.
Because of CJ Stroud.
And this is not a knock on Jordan Love. This is just not an abs.
No, I get it.
I don't see them. I don't know if the Texans or the Packers could replicate what they both did last Saturday and Sunday because literally it was the perfect game you can ever ask for both franchises. You ran the ball effectively. You threw the ball effectively. You got turnovers. You pulled off massive upsets. I wouldn't say mass. I would say more Green Bay was a massive upset, but you pulled off upsets where not many people believed that you'd be playing on this weekend, but you're here. So to me, the bigger upset would be Green Bay. Because I'll take CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud could go toe-to-toe with Lamar. Jordan Love, I think could go toe-to-toe with Brock Purdy. I just don't know if this team as a whole, and I know I might be knocking for a team that just put up 48
Shanahan does have LaFleur's number.
I know, and yes, we've seen this matchup plenty of times. Do you know this is actually the 10th playoff meeting between the two teams? Niners have a 5-4 lead overall. So this is not a rare meeting in the postseason. This happens more than usual. I'm just saying that I'd be more stunned if the Green Bay Packers won tonight. I'd be more stunned if the Buccaneers over the Houston Texans too. Is that crazy to think? I don't know if I'm just basing this purely on the QB, but when I look at these matchups, it's hard for me to go against CJ
Well, here's
Stroud.
what I would say is the Packers' offensive line is better than the Texans' offensive line.
I agree.
So if they
Who
can
has a
give
better
Jordan
defense? I'm talking about the Ravens Niners. Who do you think has a better defense?
it's the Ravens. The Ravens statistically have proven that. Look at the numbers, and they did do. And then
Hey,
their
the Browns
defense
had
did,
the
and
Browns
their
had an
defense did
all-time
kick the
great
shit out of
defense
Brock
too.
Purdy.
The Browns had an all-time great defense too.
I don't know if it was good as the Ravens. I get it by the thing, total defense,
By the
points defense.
numbers,
They do,
yeah.
but they had a better defense than the 49ers. And you saw what the Ravens did to that offense of the 49ers, who have the number one offense.
Well, Ted, you also made a great point too. Every opponent, and we're not talking about a Carolina Panther team. We're talking about every opponent that's been above 500 or a playoff caliber team that's either gone to Baltimore or had to play Baltimore has lost. Seattle got their ass kicked. The Lions got their ass kicked. The 49ers got their ass kicked.
Jacksonville played them and got. I mean, that was down in Jacksonville.
They beat Jacksonville. I think there's more. The Dolphins. They played the Dolphins. They destroyed the Dolphins.
Oh my God!
They've beat up on every team that has been given to them on their schedule. Now, all the pressure is on them.
Oh, I mean, listen. I mean, the Rams game was close. That was that walk-off field goal. That was the closest game.
That was a great game.
The Steelers, but they crushed the Bengals.
Yep.
Browns. Yep. They lost at 33-31, but they were up 2 touchdowns. I'm just looking at some of the games that they.
I'm just saying that this team has really been like overall everybody that they've played, they've taken.
Oh, so they played week 1.
Yeah, they played. Yes, this is also a week. So the Lions
25 to 9 was the week 1 September.
Yeah, but this is a whole different Houston Texans team than what we thought they were.
Yeah. No, I get it.
We also got a rematch between the Bucs and the Lions. They played.
Yep.
Lions beat them 20-6, and then obviously the Bills, who find a way to beat Kansas City all the time in the regular season, just can't figure it out in the playoffs. Now the time is yours. Ted said it. I'm going to agree with him on this too. This is a very rare that we agree a lot on this. Maybe it'll be different next week, but this is it, Buffalo. This is your golden ticket opportunity. You literally having the friend, the darkness. Hello, my old friend. It's back. They're back, but they're going against you. They're coming to your place. It's time to put the nail in the coffin and hopefully give yourselves an opportunity to play for a Super Bowl. Because if they don't win this one, no more. There's just no we can't
then you start having that same conversation that you had with Tom.
It's not even that.
But the conversation you had with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning is
I was going to say to you, I wanted to say, they lose this game, we should never talk about the Bills.
Yeah, but I won't be shocked if the Chiefs win. I will not be shocked if the Chiefs go in and Mahomes outplays. I wouldn't be surprised if Allen plays better than Mahomes, but Mahomes teams wins.
Allen's gone toe-to-toe with him.
Allen can't make the big mistake. Allen cannot make the big mistake. He's too prone to do that, and that's the problem. Is he going to try to make the big play?
That's on Buffalo if they're going to make him into Superman or they're going to make him have
the Miami game, the last game of the season, we were like, what is he doing?
Because he tries to be Superman sometimes. Get back to getting James Cook involved, running the football, keeping that time of possession on your side, and keeping Mahomes off the field. Knowing that you have a beat-up defense, you're going to have a balanced attack. If he plans to play Superman again, it's going to be the same old result probably. Most likely. Well, he'll have his numbers. They might lose by a touchdown because he's trying to do too much. They're going to have to run the ball with James Cook like they play. I mean, the last time these two teams played, James Cook had one hell of a game. And James Cook has been a true weapon for them. And that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to run the football. They're going to have to play action football. Get the ball to your tight ends, Knox, Kincaid. Hit up Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis is not playing, so that's going to play a part for this offense. I don't want to hear anything if the Buffalo Bills lose. Buffalo Bills lose. If the Buffalo Bills lose, the 49ers or the Baltimore Ravens lose this weekend, we can't consider you to be serious threats moving forward. Is it a statement? Is that an overreaction of a statement?
For what? Say that again.
What I just said. If the 49ers,
no, listen, if they lose,
the 49ers, Ravens,
if
the 49ers, Ravens, or Bills, or all lose, say I'm hypothetically they all lost, but if one of them lose, that team we can never consider to be a threat moving forward.
No, there'll still be a threat. All three teams will be a threat next year.
Well, how can you take them serious?
Listen, what do you mean you're not going to take them seriously all of a sudden?
Listen, I'll go through it all. The Ravens, you're going to get Burrow back. Steelers are going to have some sort of improvement at quarterback. They're a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl caliber team. The Browns are going to get Watson back. They're going to get everybody back. That division's going to be, you know what that is. That division's hell. Good luck to finding the winner of that division. The East, the Dolphins, they're going to have to figure out a lot of stuff with Tua and the injuries. Are they bringing back a lot of their pieces? And then, like I said, the Jets. The Jets are going to get Rodgers back. Are they going to improve their offensive line? What are they going to do with their defense? They're going to add people on offense, maybe the receivers. I'm just saying that these divisions are going to look a whole hell lot of it different than they were this year. And then if the Niners lose, what are we going to say about them with the team that they already have? The Rams are going to be a better team, a far more improved team. The Seahawks look like they're going to be different depending on who their coach is going to be. They may be moving off of Geno Smith in a year or two. So
time to move from them now.
Well, you can't really right now. That's like the Giants trying to move off Daniel Jones.
His contract is easier to move for. His contract is easier to move.
Probably have to wait another year or two. I'm just saying that these three teams, that if they were to lose,
you got to take advantage of every opportunity. I get it, Trev. Straight up, you got to take advantage of the opportunity.
Because I don't think you're going to have. Because look at the AFC right now. The AFC,
the Bills are not going anywhere.
Okay? I get it, but are you ever going to take them as legitimate Super Bowl contenders?
Yeah, every year I'm going to take them as long as they have Josh Allen. I'm going to take every single team until they don't have their quarterback. The problem is the question's going to – they're no different than the Colts. How many times did the Colts lose with Peyton Manning against Brady? Like 4 years in a row, 5, 6 years in a row before he even got over the hump.
The AFC back in the day, and we know this better than a lot of people.
Had Rivers, had Roethlisberger, had Brady, had Manning, and then once in a while you'd have another team that would sneak in once in a while to be competitive.
Look at the AFC before any of these quarterbacks ever came. It was either Peyton.
I just said it.
Yeah, Brady, Big Ben, or Flacco. It was never Rivers.
The Chargers were the number one seed 12-4. They were always a competitive team. They had the AFC Championship game in 06.
And guess what? They never went anywhere because they were the same old team.
Because Brady and them got over the hump.
You don't take them as legitimate threats.
Yeah, because Brady and the Patriots were like Mahomes and the Chiefs with home field and him.
But you took the.
So you still had to take them seriously. I still took the Chargers seriously every year. With Rivers and with Daniel Tomlinson and Antonio Gates, I did. You never liked the Chargers. I did.
It's not that. It's just because you had all. I get that, but look at the Ravens. The Ravens were.
Listen, I get it. Rodgers is going to be back for the Jets next year, okay? We know that. The Bills will still have Josh Allen. Miami, who knows what the hell is going to go on, but if they're healthy, they'll be a competitive team next year. You already talked about the AFC North, that division. If they get a quarterback, someone gets a quarterback in the Steelers,
Texans are going to be
competitive.
Better.
And I get it. That whole division better. Stroud and that Texans team will have another year under them. Jacksonville should be better with Trevor Lawrence. What's going to happen with the Colts and Anthony Richardson, right? We got that. The Titans they'll be bums. We get it. That's okay. They'll be looking for a quarterback in the next couple of years. Then the West. You still get possibly Jim Harbaugh will make the Chargers the most competitive team. Then you'll have the Chiefs. We'll see what happens there. The Raiders. We'll see what Antonio Pierce, and then Denver. So I get it. But I'm not going to knock a team because they can't win. It's just, listen, if the Chiefs play better, if Mahomes plays better and they win against the Bills, I'm not going to blame Allen and them. I'm like, oh, I can't take them seriously. Certain teams have certain numbers. Well, the Giants can beat up on Washington every single year, but they can't find a way to beat up on Dallas and Philly.
Well, because they're just
because some teams have certain teams numbered.
They're just far better team. No, but that's different because those franchises are just far better.
I mean, let's be honestly, if Kadarius Toney was not an idiot and lined up off sides, the Chiefs should have beat the Bills. Chiefs would have beat the Bills. Because he lined up like an idiot. Now, of course, Travis Kelce made one of the craziest, wildest, awesome plays I've ever seen in the middle of a game. Literally just take the ball. He's the only guy I know.
It's like the Randy Moss play. Remember the Randy Moss back in the day when he threw it a half and the guy caught it.
But that was, Travis Kelce threw a 50 like a gun.
I'm just saying, look, I love Josh Allen. I love Lamar Jackson. But there comes a point that, like, you're going to hear it on Monday. If one of these teams lose, they're going to be like, okay, you're a really good team. It's like the Chargers. You're a really good team back in the day. We're just never going to take you serious until you actually shut us the hell up.
But
That's what I'm trying to say.
So the
when I
only
say
way to
that.
do that is get to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Well, then they got to win. Plain and simple, then someone's got to win. And then here's the thing. I tell you, if one team's got to win the damn Super Bowl, it's the 49ers, bro. 100%. How many times? More so, I would think they have the most pressure of any team in the entire playoffs.
I think that's a great point.
Dude, how many times? What's it been? 10 effing years that this team literally there was like a 3-year gap. Dude,
it's been going on 4 years now.
Since Harbaugh left, there's what 2 or 3 years.
No, it's been about since 2019. So it's like going on 5 years. Remember they went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G. 29. I would say 29. About 5 years. That this kind of run has been going, because when did Shanahan leave? What was it? 2017.
I'm trying to look up quick. Hold on one second.
When did he become the head coach? Is what.
Okay, so hold on one second if you don't mind. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so 2016 they had so you're right. So they were 12-4 and 13. I think that was Harbaugh's
Super Bowl. Yeah,
14 they were 8-8, 15 5-11, then 2-14. That's how they got.
That's all I'm
saying. That was the Chip Kelly year.
When they got Bosa.
Mm-hmm. Then they were 6-10. Mm-hmm. Then 4-12, but I think that 18 team dealt with a lot of injury.
19 they went to the Super Bowl.
Then 19 they were 13-3. Wait, 2020 they were 6-10.
Yeah, they must have had a lot of. Oh yeah, they had a lot of. Bosa got injured for week 1. They had a lot of injuries.
And then 10, and then the last 3 years, 10-7.
So it's been, like I said, 2019.
So 10-7. Listen, they've had a 5 or 6 year stretch right now where they've been one of the top 3 teams in the NFC. How many times are we going to play this game?
Would it be fair to say? Would it be fair to say then that the team that faces the most pressure this weekend is the 49ers, and the 2 players that face the most pressure? Or would you say the 49ers have more pressure than the Buffalo Bills
as a team
to win? To get to the Super Bowl.
Yes. Because they're the 1 seed now, too. Again, they're the 1 seed. They got home field advantage, right? They have everything. They're loaded. They made a move for Chase Young. You got Bosa and Chase Young and Kyle Shanahan and Debo and Ayuk is literally taking off this year. And Purdy's not a rookie this season. And Chris McCaffrey should be Offensive Player of the Year this year. And then they made a move in the offseason for Jason Hargrave at free agency. And Fred Warner's a linebacker. And then secondary is still pretty good.
Don't forget about their all-pro tight end,
George Kittle. So everything is set up for you. Have home field advantage. You don't have to go to Dallas. You don't have to go to Philly. Dallas and Philly are already knocked out. You should knock out every one of these 3 teams that are left. Doesn't matter who you are. They're not even close to you. Sorry, Detroit's not as good as you. Tampa definitely not as good as you, and neither is Green Bay. At least in the AFC, you can go. I mean, as much as you say Ravens first, then Bills and Chiefs and Texans, if the Texans win, I'll be shocked, but I won't be like, oh my God, I never thought this would ever happen. I'm like, all right, well, better quarterback played better. He was just dominant. I'll be shocked that the Texans get to the Super Bowl, but if it's Texans,
would you be shocked? Would you really be shocked?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would definitely.
Don't you? But if I saw Texans
at the Bills, but if I saw Texans at the Bills next week or Texans at the Chiefs, I wouldn't be totally surprised.
Don't be surprised.
I wouldn't be.
Don't be surprised if the Houston Texans are playing in Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, like I said, once the Chiefs win again and Ravens lose and Chiefs get home field advantage for the AFC Championship game again.
Who says the Chiefs are winning?
I'm just saying. Who are these? I picked the Bills. Don't jump on them.
Speaking of, I know, I got you. I'm just breaking your balls.
Hey, listen, I just asked a quick question. Totally changed off the subject. Quality video. We're good. We've been good, right?
Yeah, we've been great, man.
So I'm never going to do another show on my.
I can see your nose hairs.
I'm never going to do another.
You're going to do it from your phone?
I'm never doing another show on this computer or any of my computers. Just going to do it off the phone.
You need a microphone.
Well, you can hear me fine.
I know, but it sounds better.
Who cares? We want quality.
Quality over quantity. We had the double duty this week. Double duty. So what upset? What
I don't have an upset. I don't have anything special.
It won't be an upset. What underdog do you think? I don't know if we posted a couple polls this week on Keys of the City on all social media platforms. One of them was which quarterback faced the most pressure, and then the other one was which underdog, because there's a few underdogs, big underdogs. If you're according to the Vegas odds, don't know what the spreads are now for the games. It might have changed. But at one point, we saw 9.5 for San Fran, Green Bay, and I think it was about 9 with Baltimore and Houston. And I think the Lions was 6.5.
Okay,
so touchdown favorite. So those are big Oh, you would say those are pretty decent size odds for all three of those teams. So to you, if you had to pick, I know that we already made our prediction and we're all on the 1-2s in the NFC and AFC title games. But if there was one team out of the three underdogs, I'm not putting the Chiefs because the Chiefs Bills is far too of a 50-50 battle. Either way can go to the next round. But Texans, Packers, Bucks. I saw a lot of people
Bucks
surprisingly pick
Bucks would be my answer.
Is it because of the Bucks? Now, what I would ask to all the people, is it because of the Bucks or is it just because of the Lions?
Say that again?
Is it because of the Bucks that people were picking the Bucks, or is it because of the Lions?
Because of the Lions. Because if you watched the game last week, the Lions did everything.
But the Rams, you can't.
The Rams should have won last week, bro. The Lions scored 3 points in the second half. They did everything. The Rams, if they had any sense of a brain, and McVay was better at play calling, and their play selection was different. Their play selection was different. They should have won. They should have won that game. The Rams should have won that game. Just our prediction should have been right. The Lions did everything they could to screw that game up. Yeah, they came out hot and heavy. 21 points off the bat. 3 drives of 75+ yards. Touchdown. Great. Did shit afterwards. Scored 3 points. That's not a winning team. That's not putting the team away. Not dominant. The Rams did nothing to do to come over that. They should have lost that game. So guess what? Maybe listen. Here's what I'll say. The Rams maybe are as close or as good as the Lions. Maybe Buccaneers are not. But I'll say this: their defense is weak a little bit. They're going to have the home field advantage. But you know what? Baker Mayfield, bro, like this. I think he's what we always wanted out of Johnny Manziel. He's what we wanted. We thought. Johnny Manziel.
We?
I think the general public is when we had Johnny Manziel.
Don't put me in that.
I think when Johnny Manziel came in the league, you were hoping that Baker Mayfield would be like what Baker Mayfield is, and Baker Mayfield had a pretty good career.
You were a big.
And when you got guys like Mike Evans and Godwin. And
Rashad White,
right, and you got good offensive line, and their defense, bro. Still got the 2 linebackers. You still got Shaq Barrett.
They should have put up 50 last week.
They still got the cornerbacks. They still have Antoine Winfield Jr. So if you look at that team, you're like, they're not as bad as their record kind of shows. They're just inconsistent, So,
but this is a matchup of 2 teams that are inconsistent.
So, and it would be what's the faith that you say that what would be your belief and faith that this Lions team is different. I get it. We were talking about pressure and things, but it's still Jared Goff. It's still the Detroit Lions. They love to go for on 4th down all over the place.
That's the thing. You just made a statement right there. You just said, "Oh, it's Jared Goff," but that's the thing. It's not the same old Jared Goff. Still, I don't believe it's the same old Jared Goff when he was playing at the Rams.
No, I don't either. But that's
not who it is.
I get it. But what did he do last week in the second half that gets you excited?
Maybe
I get it. Their offensive line is really good.
Maybe they just became very conservative, which is stupid.
Bullshit. Conservative? They go for it on 4th and 6 all over the field.
Ted, I couldn't.
They went for it on 4th and goal against the Cowboys 3 different times. They're not conservative.
What I'm trying to say is I don't have no legitimate reason as to why it went that way in the second half. I don't.
But it happened that way, so it is what it is.
Credit to Raheem Morris and the Rams defense for making plays last week.
So Todd Bowles, they love to blitz. They love to put pressure. They still have 2 good cornerbacks. They have a good safety.
But here's the thing. They have a lot of guys, speed, quick gadget guys. They're not going to be able to run this 0 blitz like they were doing on Philly because Philly didn't have A.J. Brown. That's the thing that killed Philly. And I get it. Philly was in shambles, but Philly didn't have A.J. Brown. They didn't have that deep threat. So Todd Bowles brought a lot of pressure, a lot of 0 blitz. They're not going to be able to do that.
They blitz 41% of the time.
They're not going to be able to do that all the time because they have a lot of. Look, the Lions got a nice back.
St. Brown versus Carlton Davis.
Okay, but I'm not even saying that. You want to bring a lot of blitzes? You want to bring Devin White? You want to bring Levante David? Then guess what? Who's going to be guarding 26? Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs, because he can have a field day.
Devin White. Devin White.
I'm saying, if you didn't hear me, if they're going to be bringing blitzes a lot with Devin White and
Levante but they have the other linebacker. I'm drawing a blank. Trev, help me out.
Not a lot of people could guard him.
Who's the veteran linebacker? Levante David.
Yeah, Levante David. Not a lot of people could guard Jahmyr Gibbs.
Listen, Tampa Bay has the speed.
I
on
think this is
defense.
a big Jahmyr Gibbs game.
And Antoine Winfield Jr.
I love Antoine Winfield Jr. I think he's an All-Pro. He should have been All-Pro.
He was an All-Pro safety.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
But he was the All-Pro safety.
Buddha. Go look at Antoine Winfield's numbers this year. Nasty. It is nasty. Technically, probably the best safety in football. So was Kyle Hamilton. But Hamilton deserved it. He was all over the place.
I mean,
I'm just saying
Here's the
thing.
that Tampa Bay's defense is going to have to, secondary has to play much better because don't forget their secondary was really weak this year.
So you're on the Bucs, most likely.
No, for an upset.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're on the Bucs. Me, I'm going to Texans. I'm just going with the Texans because, like I said, when you have a quarterback that doesn't get scared of pressure and just feels like, hey, follow my lead, guys. I will get you. It's like a Joe Burrow, Ted, like you talked about it. It just seems like a Joe Burrow type situation where.
But I don't know if they have it. I don't know if they have enough offensive weapons. That Joe Burrow team had Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Boyd, Mixon. I don't want to listen. They don't have the same. Don't say Nico Collins.
He's emerged. You
okay,
can't say that,
but he ain't Jamar Chase. Not yet.
Not a lot of people are.
Then who's their T. Higgins?
I would have said Tank.
And then who's their Tyler Boyd? And then who's their Joe Mixon?
That's Dalton Schultz. Devin Singletary. Who's free? Who's Baltimore's Jamar Chase? Zay Flowers? Who's T. Higgins?
I'm not worried about them. They have Lamar.
And C.J. Stroud is not that good?
Lamar can run really fast.
And he can run really fast.
He can run really fast.
Yeah, he can run really fast.
It's funny because I'm watching that right now because they're talking about that right now a little with the blitz because Baltimore likes the blitz. And Nico Collins is in the slot. So look, bang, bang.
Look, this is what I'm talking. Look at that. Look at that throw. That's what I'm talking about. Pressure facing right in his face. And guess what? That's a connection and a half, man. And plus, like I said, Ted, Marlon Humphrey's not playing tomorrow. So that's a big deal as well.
No, you mean today.
Oh, yeah, today, though.
They play today at 4:30.
Actually, in 45 minutes, we are going.
Yeah, so here's the move. Here's the bang, bang. Now we move the double move.
That's what I'm trying to say. Look at the moves, man. Him and Nico Collins, he's got him and Dalton Schultz.
That was Dalton Schultz, but yeah.
They got great chemistry together. And I know we haven't really been talking about the Green Bay Packers as we should be because
guess what? Good news. Kadarius Toney is downgraded to out, so he won't be able to.
The Chiefs might be a better team now with that. We haven't really talked about the Green Bay Packers, and there's
nothing to talk about.
But they might have looked the out of all the teams that played last weekend, they were probably the most impressive out of everyone. And it seems like we're not giving them a chance in hell to win this.
I give them a chance. I look at it like certain teams. The 49ers have owned the Packers, and they own the Packers when Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback.
Well, this is not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Jordan Love's ready for this because unlike the Cowboys who just like, you know what, this is what we run and this is what we're going to do because they're stubborn to a fault, 49ers ain't going to do that. This is going to be a different monster for Jordan Love.
You think it's going to be a blowout?
They win by 10.
Okay, so they cover.
Yeah.
What about the Lions? You don't have to give me no score.
I think a 3-point game.
They win by 3 point. Okay. How about tomorrow? How about today's game?
Texans, listen, Ravens. You know what's funny? The more and more you talk about CJ Stroud and the Texans, almost makes me want to be a Texans fan. It's great to see, but I would
love to do it. Here's the thing: it's so tough for me because I'm a huge Lamar fan, but I love CJ Stroud, and I'm Ohio State.
But I think at the end of the day, I think the Ravens find a way. Like I told you, I think the Ravens find a way to win just because. Home field advantage.
They're just home field advantage.
And they're a better team. They're a better team.
And this team's on a mission.
And here's the thing: I want the Bills to win. I want the Bills to win, if
the Chiefs win, it's just going to be the Patriots all over to me again.
And I want it to be because listen, not that wouldn't be a great matchup because NFL Mahomes versus Lamar.
I mean, you can have Lamar versus Mahomes.
Think about that. Remember a couple years ago the Monday Night Football game where they had Lamar. They went for it on 4th and 1. Lamar told Harbaugh. We're going for it. Remember against the Chiefs because he wanted to beat the Chiefs.
Game. Yeah. It was a Sunday night.
He wanted to beat the Chiefs. Yep. So that would be great, and you'd be like, "All right, finally get over the hump." But it would also be, I think, better because then if you had the Bills Ravens, one of the two quarterbacks would get their opportunity to make. You know what I mean? It's like a lose-lose. You'd still get one of the two teams.
It's pretty.
You'd have the best team, and you'd have the best team in football this year in the Ravens in the Super Bowl and Harbaugh after his brother kind of just won the national championship. Yeah, so you could have back-to-back Harbaugh brothers winning championships this year, or you would get the Bills going into the Super Bowl for the 5th time with an opportunity to win their first ever Super Bowl, whoever they face. And I think that would be
It's pretty
awesome.
crazy. It's pretty crazy to me that 3 of my favorite quarterbacks are playing this weekend, and they're all in the AFC. And no, I'm not that Mahomes is not one of my favorite quarterbacks, but CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen, those would be the 3 quarterbacks I'd build my franchises around if I had to.
Start, bench, and cut. Start, bench, and cut.
I would start
Josh Allen.
I would start Josh Allen, bench CJ Stroud, and cut Lamar.
See, I'd cut
MVP?
CJ Stroud and keep Lamar because then I could bring in the 2 quarterback system and have Lamar.
I don't know if people want to watch Keys to the City after me just saying I'm cutting the MVP of the league this year.
For CJ Stroud and Josh Allen.
I love CJ Stroud, man. I think he has all the tools to be. It's just me.
I would take Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, and Aaron Rodgers.
There we go. 3 choke artists.
I'd cut all 3.
Did you see this little myth, this little superstitious thing that like the Super Bowl colors this year are purple and red?
Yeah,
the past
3
years.
Yeah, I sent that to you like months ago on Instagram.
I didn't know if you, because I send you stuff too, and you just like.
Yeah, but I sent you that like 3 different times.
You just zone out. So
I told you that 3 different times. Ravens versus.
You think that's gonna come true again?
Rematch?
It's pretty. No, I'm not even saying like the colors. Like,
but here's another rematch too.
I know, from 10 years ago. Oof, a rematch too. All I know is we're 40 minutes away from the first of 4 great possible games this week.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited for them.
I'm not going to say they're going to be great games because
I think the NFL fans should look at all 4 games and say these are all win-win games. You know what I mean?
Because you get the quarterbacks, you got the quarterback play, you got the superstars there.
You get the storylines.
I don't think there's many storylines as there was last week. Like, there was a lot of storylines in last week's games.
Well, of course, because there was more games. But you got Mahomes versus Allen, all right? Yeah. You got Lamar in the divisional round versus the Texans, right? And you got young quarterback C.J. Stroud versus Lamar. And
can C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love replicate what they did last week?
The 49ers, right? Like, let's go 49ers, Brock Purdy. Let's see.
And can the Lions be in an NFC title game since 1991, I think it was?
91, yeah. That's when they lost to Washington. I was watching that in the Bye Bye Barry episode.
Yeah, Doug Williams, and they won the Super Bowl that year, Washington.
Beat the Bills.
Washington, yeah. Doug Williams. Yeah. We'll see what happens. All I know is it's go time.
I'm excited.
I am too. I in a way, like, it's weird because I do get nervous because I don't know. I want to see the best possible matchups next weekend in the Super Bowl, but if there is an upset, so be it. Like I said, I don't really care how this playoff goes the remaining way because my playoffs were a win anyway when Dallas and Philly went down last week. So who am I to complain? I actually don't want to see the Chiefs, though. I don't.
Yeah, no, I feel like we'll have to.
I feel like it'd be like New England all over again.
Hey, not to totally change the change, but did you see the number 1 transfer portal?
Oh, you saw my boy Caleb Downs, new Ohio State?
Yep.
Safety? Hell yeah, baby. We're going to win a national championship next year.
The Caden Proctor, the tackle, the top 10 recruit, he went to Iowa.
Ted, just know this possibly. The Ravens.
He was 6'7", 360 as a freshman. He was selected as the SEC All-Freshman team.
The Ravens are going to lose, Ted, to the Ohio State-Michigan connection tonight.
Oh, boy. Talking big game.
C.J. Stroud to Mr. Nico Collins.
Great.
Mr. Collins, Mr. Franklin.
Mr. Showover.
Mr. Showover indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back next week recapping divisional football. I can't wait. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a hell of a weekend. Football fans, enjoy it. We're Keys to the City. We'll see you next episode. We are out.
You are now in tune to the Keys to the City